Hey guys, my name is Joe. Welcome back to one more holiday room by room. Now, this time around, we're going to be exploring the Hume House, more specifically, the dining room inside of the Hume House. Now, this house was home to 9, so especially during the holiday season, I'm sure you can imagine how much use this room saw. So, let's go check
All
it out.
right, so first things first. The purpose of this room is pretty straightforward. So the main purpose of this room is to host family and guests as they ate. Now, this room is kind of interesting because it is a prime example as to why we tell the story of this house inside the 1920s. And we kind of do this because the Humes changed this house. They made this house fit them. And one such project took place in here. So originally, this back wall was pulled in about 3-4 feet to sit between this big wood pillar here and this big wood pillar there. Now, these two pillars were added along with this kind of big box ceiling up top to help disguise the new kind of expansion project. And while this happening, the Humes did take the time to actually replace the floor as well. So this flooring is original to this house. It's just original to about 1906 or so. And this tile, if you are curious, came from the Schoon Tile and Marble Company from Grand Rapids. Now, as we pan up, all of the walls and ceilings are covered in a canvas-like material. That is done as a protective measure to ensure the preservation of the original stenciling and plaster that is underneath this. So the Hackley House original stenciling is protected in the same manner. The great thing about this is that if we ever do decide to change the wallpaper or the stenciling from the time frame that we're in this case the 1920s, we can go ahead and change it from the 20s, say to 1890 or to 1950. We can go ahead and make all these changes and tear all this off without having to sacrifice the original behind the protective sheet here. So this way it kind of helps us protect the house and also allows us to make changes that we see fit as the time may call for. Now, the other nice thing is that the period appropriate wallpaper that you guys do see in here was added to this room in March of 2015. So it's still kind of relatively new. There are still a couple more rooms that we do want to add more period wallpaper to. It's kind of this cabinet right here. This is actually part of the pass-through into the pantry behind us here. So the butler's pantry is kind of that small space you see right there. So this back door, kind of behind these plates, will actually swing open and you could pass things all the way through from the dining room here, all the way into the pantry itself. So as we kind of take a look through here into the butler's pantry, you can see you get the latch here, you go and swing this door open, and you could pass stuff all the way through into the kitchen. So doing this really makes kind of serving meals a whole lot easier. Now you don't have to carry big heavy things through the swinging door here. And then you can also go ahead and pass a whole bunch of plates all the way through without running the risk of having anything knocked down or knocked out of your hands by that door swinging both ways. And so sitting next to that pass-through right here, we do have one of our two portraits inside this room. This one is of Mr. Bartholomew Banks. So Mr. Banks was Mrs. Hume's dad. So he kind of hangs here, kind of a younger version of him, originally from Marshall, Michigan. But then opposite him, across the room, is an older version of Thomas Hume. So Thomas here, we just got him back from the conservator a couple years ago. He went down there to go and see them because he was looking kind of rough. So it took him down to be preserved and kind of cleaned up. And so a Hume descendant actually donated this portrait to us in 2015, started about the same time that the wallpaper. Now, as we take a look down at the table, we can see something that we would not have seen during the Victorian era. So that thing is the high chair that we do have set kind of right there at the corner. During the Victorian era, children did not eat with the adults, but ate with the servants instead in the kitchen or the basement with the maids. The kids ate with the servants until they were able to hold adult conversation. So really until they were about 13 or 14. But by the 20s, however, this practice had kind of fallen away and kids were invited to eat with the with the adults. And so as you can see, we have the table set for the traditional Christmas feast. So the Christmas feast has its roots from before the Middle Ages. It is during the Victorian period that the meal we now associate with Christmas began to really take shape. So examination of early Victorian recipes shows that mince pies were initially made from meat, a tradition dating back to earlier times. However, during the 19th century, there was a revolution in the composition of this festive dish. So mixes without meat began to grow in popularity within some of the higher ranks of society and became the mince pies we know now. Also, the roast turkey has its beginnings in Victorian Britain. Previously, other forms of roasted meat, such as beef and goose, were the centerpiece of the Christmas dinner, but the turkey was added to this by the more wealthy sections of the community in the 19th century, but its perfect size for a family gathering meant it became the dominant dish by the beginning of the 20th century. And so unlike many other rooms, this room is not decorated by a volunteer group, but just by the historic site team, so we hope you do enjoy the decorations inside the room here.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now, be sure to keep checking back here as we still have a couple more rooms to explore, so we hope to see you again here soon. Thanks.